Welcome to the Week in Review, the show that brings you up to date on the week that was. Here are the top stories. Indian economy continues to be gloomy. India Inc. reacts to policy paralysis, and inflation woes continue. The week began on a rather turbulent note for the country's economy. Credit rating agency Standard & Poor, or S&P, warned India that it could be one of the first BRIC nations to get a downgrade. India might lose its investment grading, citing slow GDP and political roadblocks to policy making. Also, the BBB negative long-term sovereign credit rating is currently a notch above speculative grade. In April, S&P had revised the country's credit outlook to negative. But the finance minister remained confident about India's growth story. He dismissed S&P's warning, stating that the government is fully aware of the situation and expressed confidence in the country's economic track record. He added that the S&P report is not based on a fresh rating action. Also, there are no significant events to indicate that India's vulnerability to shocks has increased despite slow growth numbers. And adding woes to the already troubled economy were the IIP numbers. The figures released on Tuesday presented a rather dismal picture of the current state of affairs. The industrial production growth rate slowed down to 0.1% in April. Contraction in capital goods and dip in manufacturing output are cited as the main reasons for such poor show. The IIP was 5.3% in April last year. And here's the sector-wise breakup of the IIP figures. The manufacturing sector grew barely at 0.1% as against 5.7% in April 2011. Capital goods output declined by 16.3% against a growth of 6.6% in the same month last year. Mining contracted by 3.1% as compared to 1.6% growth in April 2011. On the flip side, consumer durables segment expanded by 5% as against 1.6% last year. These numbers are likely to put pressure on the Reserve Bank to cut its lending rates. Moving on, inflation figures for May were also released in the week. The overall food inflation rose to 10.7% from 10.4% in the same period last year. Vegetables inflation was lower at 49.4% in May. In April, the rate of price rise was 6.1%. And after 6 months of backtracking on plans to allow FDI in retail, major retail chains are scaling down their operations. After the Future Group gave away its stake to Aditya Birla in its clothing brand Pantaloons, Aditya Birla has shut 50 of its more stores. Reliance also shut down 1,300 Reliance Fresh stores as it was unable to make money. Experts feel no decision is expected before the 2014 general elections. The issue of policy paralysis of the government is finding an echo in India Inc. Two of the country's best-known business leaders, Azim Premji and Narayan Murthy, have expressed their disappointment with the current state of affairs. Azim Premji said the country is functioning without a leader, while Narayan Murthy criticized the retrospective imposition of taxes and said participation from foreign investors is crucial. And here are some stories in brief. Reliance Communications' undersea cable business has gotten approval for an IPO on the Singapore Stock Exchange. With the IPO, Arcom could raise more than $1 billion. This move will help the Anil Ambani-led company to cut some of its debt burden, which stands at $7 billion as of March. The company had been trying to raise funds by selling its telecom assets, but has been largely unsuccessful. The company hasn't specified any date for the IPO, though insiders say it could be next month. Aiming at bridging the diesel car supply gap, the Maruti Suzuki board has approved a proposal to merge Suzuki Powertrain India with itself. With the merger, Maruti Suzuki will be able to bring its entire diesel engine capacity under a single management control. SPIL supplies diesel engines and transmissions for Maruti Suzuki's vehicles. Maruti also has a separate deal with Italian carmaker Fiat to source 1 lakh diesel engines for 3 years. The company is hoping to get regulatory clearances by December. Maruti, however, has no plans to cut jobs post the merger. And ONGC is set to invest 440 crores in drilling 40 oil and gas wells in the KG Basin next year. The proposal is currently with the Environment Ministry for clearances. The wells would be located in East-West Godavari and Krishna district in Andhra Pradesh. According to ONGC, these blocks are estimated to have 1,000 million metric tons of oil. ONGC, which has 24 blocks in the KG Basin, produces approximately 840 tons of oil per day. And finally, according to the weather officials, the crucial monsoon rains are 50% below average in the week to June 13th. The Indian Meteorological Department has forecast that rainfall would continue till September. Monsoons were 36% below average in its first week after a delay. And that's all we have for you. Thanks for watching.